Simply by using a single high-quality photograph, you can easily turn your lesson into a comprehensive educational resource kit. I'll let you know right away that today's video will be a bit longer than usual, but it's worth it. This is a video aimed at teachers, but also at students. In any case, as always, I'll leave the index in the description, so if you're short on time, you can skip straight to the part that interests you most. Let's start with a very simple and very common situation, a lecture given to students and a well-written blackboard by the teacher who conducted the lesson. Scenario: this is the situation, one that we often experience when we give a lecture. At the end of the lesson, we look at our blackboard and notice that it is well organized, containing a nice summary of the lesson we gave in class. So we decide to take a photo and share it with our students, perhaps through Classroom, so that even at home they have a way to review the lesson summary, which of course adds to the notes the students took during the lesson itself. With today's video, however, we'll see how, starting from that simple photograph, we can generate a series of useful documents for our students to review, to study, but also to address any specific learning disorders or general study difficulties. Basically, we start from a blackboard and end up with an entire digital study package for our students. The tools I will use for this video are all from Google and all in their free versions. I chose to use this version and not the educational one to make sure that everyone watching the video can then replicate at home the same activities I am about to show you. In short, starting from a photo of our blackboard, we will create a notes document, a video, a podcast, a presentation useful for review, a mind map, and we'll provide the option for 1,000 other possible things. As we mentioned earlier, the starting point will therefore be the photo we took of the blackboard we wrote on during our lesson. In this case, I used an old blackboard from a social media marketing lesson I gave to IT professionals in vocational training. As you can see, I tried to make sure that all the lesson content fit on a single blackboard to make the process easier. So let's open our great teaching companion, our assistant, Google Gemini or Gemini. By clicking on the plus sign, we will upload the photo file. I select it and we can see that Gemini has already uploaded it in the first part of the prompt. Now I'm going to write the description of what I want to achieve. As an example, I will leave the prompt in the video description below so you can copy it a bit. Anyway, what we're trying to do as a first step is to have Gemini create notes from the lesson. In this way, we can provide our students, and not only them, with an effective summary of the lesson that can rework what was written on the board, expand on it, and thus allow the students to supplement their own notes. And we can see that the output consists of notes that have not only been transcribed but also expanded, because obviously what is written on the board is just a summary of what we say aloud. Here, Gemini tried to fill in the gaps between the summary and what we actually said by adding some parts from its own knowledge. Now, I won't dwell too much on the content and evaluation of what Gemini wrote, something I did do when I actually carried out this transcription of the notes. In any case, I scroll to the bottom and by clicking on the three dots, I can see that there is an option to export to documents. Down here, just below me, you can see that the message "New document created" has appeared, and I can click on Open Documents, and in another Google Chrome tab, Creating Practical Social Media Post Notes opens up for me. So Gemini also independently chose the title for my Google document, and now I have a document that has summarized what I had written on the whiteboard. In my opinion, this is already a big step forward because it makes life easier for our students. It's a task they can easily do themselves. But for those like me, or maybe like you who work with Classroom, it becomes very useful to provide students not only with a photo of the whiteboard, but also with a textual summary of the lesson that can help some of them with their study. Now let's move on to another tool also provided for free by Google called NotebookLM, and let's immediately see what it does. I click on Create New up here or here on Create New Notebook, and you can see that the introductory screen asks me to enter a source. I click on Upload a Source, choose Google Drive, and here it already finds the document that Gemini automatically created. I select it and click on Insert. After selecting it up here, NotebookLM has imported my document, the one generated by Gemini, which has now become the source document from which it draws information. Now I'll show you how this information will be used. First of all, I assign a name to this notebook by typing it directly up here on the top left. Here, there's a very quick explanation of what this notebook does, and we can already start to see some amazing features. For example, down here, I can type in questions, allowing my students to ask for clarifications about the lesson they've just attended. In this way, I can be sure that the students will get clarifications, but ones that are based on my own source material, so on my lesson. Now let's move on to the third step in creating content for our students to make their studying easier. Let's shift our attention here to the right, and you can see that above me there are some buttons that are extremely useful. And I won't deny that the first time I used them, I was fascinated. Specifically, we'll only look at a few of these, but let's take a look. The first one is Overview Audio. Overview Audio will create a podcast in which two people have a conversation as if it were a radio interview, and they talk about the topic of my document. In other words, the notes that Gemini generated starting from the photo of my blackboard. I'll click it so at least the processing can start in the meantime. As you can see to the right of my face, the process of creating this fake podcast has begun. In the meantime, let's move on and also take a look at overview video. This is also extremely fascinating because NotebookLM, starting from my notes, will create an MP4 video that also includes slides to help students follow along with the video and review more easily. Again, I click here and you can see that I'm even given the option to choose a video style. I can also tell NotebookLM which language it should use to generate the video. We realize what an advantage this is for our students when we have multicultural classes with different language backgrounds, and it can be truly useful for them to be able to study or listen to the lesson again in their native language. Below, I have the styles I can choose for my video. And just to be consistent, I want to select Blackboard. Just below the style, here on my left, you can see that I can tell NotebookLM what it should do with this video, so I can give some more specific instructions to make sure the output meets my expectations. I click on Generate and the creation of this video also begins. While the generation is in progress, I want to point out that still here on my right, there are other useful buttons such as the mind map. I'll click it so that gets generated as well, a possible report, flashcards to make studying easier, quizzes, and now there are also infographics and presentations. I'll click on that, and now NotebookLM is also creating a presentation, so a slide-based summary of my lesson. At this point, we're ready to see what NotebookLM has produced for us and for our students. I would start with the video itself. By clicking play, I can already preview my video. If I want, I can also watch it at a higher speed or scroll back and forth in time to review certain segments. It created a video for me that is 6 minutes and 19 seconds long, and I can also give feedback on the quality of the product. By clicking on these three dots, I can also download it if I want to upload it to YouTube later. Now let's watch a short excerpt, but I'll leave the link above for anyone who wants to see the full video instead.
It's time to talk about copywriting, which, as we'll see, has its own precise structure in 3 parts. The anatomy of a good text is as follows.
All right, I'll pause here. I want to show you how it not only created the background graphic and the title, but also made a progressive infographic in 3 points, describing the copy of an Instagram post, which was the subject of the lesson, by dividing it into its 3 main components, just as I explained them to my first-year students. I'll fast forward to see how the transition to the next screen will look.
Visibility for the content is also to tell the algorithm what we're talking about. The look is the very first line, and that's everything. It needs to immediately spark curiosity.
So after the introductory slide where he showed the 3 main themes, the 3 components of a post's copy, now he's going to break them down one by one, creating a dedicated graphic for each of them. The second output I want to show you is the podcast one. Starting from the source I provided, Notebook created a fake podcast between 2 people having a conversation, and now I'll let you listen to a very short excerpt just to show how the 2 voices interact with each other.
It's a leap into the unknown for many. There's a widespread idea, which the source immediately debunks, that online communication is an art based entirely on instinct.
Which, to be honest, is a colossal false myth. There's this illusion that managing a digital presence means grabbing your phone during a break and posting a cute photo, follow. Naniak.
Okay, now regardless of what these 2 voices are saying, you can see that the audio lasts 23 minutes and 50 seconds. So my lesson has been expanded again. It's been extended by adding fillers that are still meaningful and consistent with the topic of the lesson, allowing the students to listen to a dialogue between 2 people discussing what I explained in class, thus making it more accessible for them as well. So those who prefer to listen to it with headphones while commuting from home to school can review my lesson, but in a slightly different format. The third output we're going to look at instead is the presentation that was generated starting from the source I provided. A presentation of 15 slides was automatically generated, which I can still customize. In fact, by using the review button up here, I can give specific instructions to modify individual slides. For example, here I could ask for content that's more relevant to the educational orientation of the students I was teaching. So I asked to generate a title that might be more appealing to the students in the IT operator course. I click on Generate New Presentation. It reworks the content according to the instructions provided, and a second presentation is created for me, labeled with the number 2. As you can see, to capture the attention of the IT operator students, it used the word hack. Obviously, we can step in and make changes, but even this already creates a nice wow effect. I want to point out the quality of the content already from slide 2. For example, let's look at this slide. You can see there's some interesting graphic intent here. I haven't looked at the content at all, so it might be full of nonsense. If it were finalized for real use, of course, I would look at it much more carefully, but even at a glance, I can see that the graphics are very appealing and the content seems to be relevant to what I explained. Finally, the last output we generated was the mind map, which is very useful for helping students with studying or reviewing the lesson. You can see that it looks exactly like a mind map, and I can expand each individual element. Let's follow the thread of the example from the video, and so let's see what it generated for us regarding the copy for an Instagram post. In this case, there are no longer 3 elements, but as you can see, there are now 2. That's simply because the third one has been explained in more detail in this section below called Writing Framework. By clicking on each of them, I can expand them and see more specific information. When I click on the last item in this tree, it reopens the chat where it automatically wrote a support or clarification request message. NotebookLM responds by drawing from sources and, if necessary, further expands the answer with online sources. At any time, I can add new sources here on the side, so I can add new lessons that I have taught myself or documentary material that I want to provide to the students to help them further explore the topic I covered. One could in fact say that at this point, NotebookLM becomes a sort of enhancement teacher who supports our students as they review at home the lesson given in class. One last important consideration before closing this video. For me, all these artificial intelligence tools do not replace the role and work of the teacher. They do not explain better than a teacher. They do not know the class. They do not know the unique characteristics of each student. What is certain, however, is that they can become an extremely useful tool to make our work as teachers easier and to help our students study at home. They can help us organize notes, create clearer materials, give students different ways to study, or even allow students to ask the artificial intelligence questions for further clarification, using language that might be closer to their needs at that moment, or even make review times easier, perhaps by listening to an audio on the bus or watching a video. Obviously, the real and central work remains that of the teacher, who in this case uses artificial intelligence as a support for their teaching and perhaps also teaches students how to use tools and platforms like the ones we've seen today in order to achieve better results and improved learning. So I could say that in the end, if technology helps us explain things better and helps students study better, then I would say it's worth using it. And remember, this too, now more than ever, is digital education.